Hare Krishna devotees, very happy Krishna conscious day. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada, Guru and Gauranga. I seek blessings of all the Vaishnavas and my devotees, Nitai Gaur Chandra, Bhagavan to bless me so that I can speak something which is beneficial for everyone. Okay, let's start with the prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurum Militam Ena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Ena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Tam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Rindavaneshwari Rishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Narayanam Namaskrityam Naran Chaiva Narottamam Bhagavati Tamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistikim Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today we are reading from Canto 1, Chapter 18, Maharaj Parikshit cursed by Brahmana boy, texts 1 and 2. Okay, let's recite the verses. Suta Uvacha Yo vai Dronyastra Plusto Namatur Udare Mritah Anugrahat Bhagavataha Krishnasya Karmanah Suta Uvacha Yovai Draunastra Viplusto Namatur Udare Mritah Anugrahat Bhagavataha Krishnasya Karmanah. Synonyms. Suta Uvacha. Shri Suta Goswami said, yeah, one who, why, certainly, Drauni Astra, by the weapon of the son of Drona, Piplustaha, burned by, Na, never, Matuhu, of the mother, Udare, in the womb, Mrita, met his death, Anugrahat, by the mercy, Bhagavataha, of the personality of Godhead, Krishnasya, Krishna, Adbhuta Karmana, who acts wonderfully. Translation. Sri Suta Goswami said, due to the mercy of the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, who acts wonderfully, Maharaj Parikshita, though struck by the weapon of the son of Drona in his mother's womb, could not be burned. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The sages of Naimisharanya became struck with wonder after hearing about the wonderful administration of Maharaj Parikshit, especially in reference to his punishing the personality of Kali and making him completely unable to do any harm within the kingdom. Suta Goswami was equally anxious to describe Maharaj Parikshit's wonderful birth and death, and this verse is stated by Suta Goswami to increase the interest of the sages of Naimisharanya. I'll read the next verse also. Then Brahmakopo hitat yastu takshakat prana viplavat na sammoho rupyat bhagavati arpita ashayaha brahmakopotitat yastu takshakat prana viplavat na sammoho payat bhagavati arpita ashayaha. Brahmakopa, fury of a Brahmana, Uttita, caused by, what was, tu, but, Takshaka, by the snake bird, Prana Viplavat, from dissolution of life, Na, never, Sammumoha, was overwhelmed, Kurubhayat, great fear, Bhagavati, unto the personality of Godhead, Arpita, surrendered, Ashayaha, consciousness. Translation. Furthermore, Maharaj Parikshit was always consciously surrendered to the personality of Godhead, and therefore he was neither afraid nor overwhelmed by fear due to a snake bird which was to bite him because of the fury of Brahmana boy. Purport by His Divine Sri Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada ki jai. A self-surrendered devotee of the Lord is called Narayana Parayana. Such a person is never afraid of any place or person, not even of death. For him, nothing is as important as the Supreme Lord, and thus he gives equal importance to heaven and hell. He knows well that both heaven and hell are creations of the Lord, and similarly, life and death are different conditions of existence created by the Lord. But in all conditions and in all circumstances, remembrance of Narayana is essential. The Narayana Parayana practices this constantly. Maharaj Parikshit was such a pure devotee. He was wrongfully cursed by an inexperienced son of a Brahmana who was under the influence of Kali. And Maharaj Parikshit took this to be sent by Narayana. He knew that Narayana, Lord Krishna, had saved him when he was burned in the womb of his mother. And if he were to be killed by a snake bite, it would also take place by the will of the Lord. The devotee never goes against the will of the Lord. Anything sent by God is blessing for the devotee. Therefore, Maharaj Parikshit was afraid of or not bewildered by such things. That is the sign of a pure devotee of the Lord. Okay, just to start with what we did until last chapter, we heard so many the birth of the Parikshit Maharaj, how he was saved by Krishna when he was in the when he was in Uttara's womb, and when Dronacharya's son sent the Brahmastra to kill him. And at the same time, when he was born, and all Brahmanas who predicted or explained all the different qualities of Parikshit Maharaj, comparing him to the great personalities. And when Krishna left the world, Yudhishthira Maharaj decided to retire from the household life, and he enthroned Parikshit Maharaj and Vajra, grandson of Krishna, Parikshit Maharaj to Hastinapur, and Vajra to the Mathura kingdom. And also he performed the fire sacrifice to renounce the household life and retire from the king, the household life. And also we heard, like in the last chapter, how Parikshit Maharaj was ruling, always absorbed in the glories of Krishna and guided by the devotees. And he was so equipoised toward all living entities in his kingdom. That means even the animals, everyone are taken care very nicely. And when he learned that Kalipurusha entered his kingdom, he took a decision to travel across the kingdom and conquer. He conquered all the places, and during the time he heard so many pastimes of his ancestors and and also about Krishna. And while he is traveling, he encountered Dharma in the form of bull and Dharani earth in the form of cow in a very distressed condition. And Kalipurusha, who dressed like a king but acting like a Shudra and hurting the bull. And he understands the situation and he tries to kill Kalipurusha, but then Kalipurusha surrenders to Parikshit Maharaj, and then Parikshit Maharaj gives him 5 places to go and stay in his kingdom, because Kalipurusha says that if you're banishing me, I have no place to go and stay in this world because everything belongs to you. So then Parikshit Maharaj gives him 4 places first: gambling, drinking, a place where a gambling is happening, or a drinking is happening, a prostitution happening, or animal slaughter is happening. But then Kalipurusha says, you're giving me a places where your kingdom is so cherished, and I have no place to do. None of those activities happens in your kingdom. Then Parikshit Maharaj asked him to go and stay in a place where gold exists abundantly, because it gives rise to falsity, intoxication, lust, envy, and enmity. That's where we ended with the 17th chapter, and now we are entering into the 18th chapter, where we'll be learning or hearing more of the events which led to the renunciation of Parikshit Maharaj, renunciation of kingdom by Parikshit Maharaj, and what led and all. And just to, I was just contemplating, and then I saw like, I feel like in the last chapter, that 39th verse, where Parikshit Maharaj gave the 5th place for Kalipurusha to stay. And though in that verse it is mentioned as gold, which gives rise to falsity, intoxication, lust, envy, and enmity. But I believe, like in the current age of Kali, any material possessions, if someone possesses in abundance, would bring in those qualities of falsity, intoxication, lust, envy, and enmity, unless one is a Narayana Parayana devotee, which is mentioned in this verse 2 of the 18th chapter, where Prabhupada is talking about they're fully surrendered. Because why I come to the conclusion is because later in the chapter, the Brahmana boy, Shringi, he explicitly claims and he feels himself to be proud about his powers, and immaturely, and he wanted to punish Parikshit Maharaj, who put the snake around his father's neck, immaturely, without thinking the situation or what is the right or wrong. So in that situation, Parikshit Maharaj is capable of taking the revenge against Shringi, but thoughtfully, since he is the devotee of the Lord, so he inquired from the qualified Brahmanas what would be his next plan of action. And then he decided to absorb himself in listening the glories of the Lord for the next 7 days before he leaves his body. And that's how we got the Bhagavatam. Right. So on this context, like Prabhupada mentioned here about the qualities of the pure devotee, how they act. And I got this Narayana Parayana means like there was a lecture where Prabhupada was mentioning in detail about what is Narayana Parayana means. Like in that lecture, Prabhupada was saying Narayana Parayana means like my life is now dedicated for Narayana. Is Narayana or Krishna or Vishnu, they're all same. When I'm thinking about this, like I could get a thought like as King Chitraketu is one of such a devotee, and when Mother Parvati cursed King Chitraketu, he accepted it very happily, and he took the curse very happily. And in that context, after the curse, like how Chitraketu Maharaj responded, I just want to read from the words, like how it was proper summarized that chapter, like how Chitraketu Maharaj responded. So here, like it says, Chitraketu, however, was not at all afraid of Parvati's curse, and thus he spoke as follows. Everyone in human society enjoys happiness and distress according to his past deeds, and in this way travels in the material world. Therefore, no one is responsible for his happiness and distress. One is controlled by the influence of material nature in the material world, yet one thinks himself the doer of everything. In this material world, which is made of external energy of the Supreme Lord, one is sometimes cursed and sometimes favored, and thus he sometimes enjoys in the upper planetary systems and sometimes suffers in the lower planetary systems. But all these situations are the same because they are within this material world. None of these positions has any factual existence, for all of them are temporary. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the ultimate controller because the material world is created, maintained, and annihilated under his control, while he nonetheless remains neutral to these different transformations of the material world in time and space. The material external energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is in charge of this material world, of this material world. The Lord helps the world by creating situations of the living entities within it. And after Chitraketu Maharaj accepts, like then Lord Shiva later explains how those devotees of Lord act in these verses like 27 and 28. There are more actually. So in the 27, it says, Lord Shiva said, my dear beautiful Parvati, have you seen the greatness of the Vaishnavas? Being servants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, they're great souls and are not interested in any kind of material happiness. The 28th verse. Here, actually, the verse itself says that Narayana para sarvena kutaschana dipyati swargapavarga narakesva api tulyata darshinaha. So devotees solely engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayana never fear any conditioned life. For them, the heavenly planets, liberation, and the hellish planets are all the same. For such devotees are interested only in the service of the Lord. So, and again, another such devotee was Ambarish Maharaj. Even when Durvas Muni cursed Ambarish Maharaj again without thinking and not able to control his senses. And Ambarish Maharaj did not revenge back. Instead, like he just prayed to Lord Vishnu. And we know that like after that, Durvas Muni was chased by Sudarshan Chakra and all that stuff. So yeah, so the devotees who are like Narayana Parayan devotees, they never care for their current conditioned life. So they know that it is temporary and it's an ongoing thing. So, and again, the same lecture where, which I was referring and where Prabhupada mentions, all one has to become designationless to become a Narayana Parayana devotee. What's the designation? Like, and Prabhupada was mentioning, like a lot of times we consider ourselves like I'm an Indian, I'm an American, and I'm Hindu, etc. All these are the different designations we assign ourselves based on our body. So this time I might have, in this life, I might have born as an Indian, but next life, I don't know, I might be in an animal life or anywhere I can take birth. So means these designations are temporary. So, and even when we look at it in the Kurukshetra war, Arjuna was all ready to fight the war. And when they assembled in the battlefield, he bewildered himself and then he surrenders to Krishna and says, I'm now confused. Please, I'm surrendering unto you as a disciple. Please instruct me. That's that verse like in Bhagavad Gita 2.7. I just want to read the translation. So it says like, now I'm confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of miserly weakness. In this condition, I'm asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I'm your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. And we know that after that, like Krishna spoke whole of Bhagavad Gita, and then finally in the 18.63 he says like, whatever I'm supposed to instruct you, I mentioned, and now it's your choice to do whatever you want to do. And so as a spiritual master of Krishna, so they give us the good instructions, but taking those instructions further is in our hands and it's our responsibility to act upon it. And just to conclude, what I could say is like we need to unconditionally surrender to Krishna or Guru to become designationless. When I add different conditions, so we try to interpret the instructions the way which is favorable to me, or like the way maybe my Guru Maharaj meant this, or something. We can interpret our own ways. So it's good to surrender unconditionally, take the instructions as is to become designationless, so we can get the mercy of Krishna and Guru. So with that, I conclude and open for any discussions or clarifying or correcting me if I spoke something wrong. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Krishna Prabhu.
Just reflecting that we should be free from designations.
Yes, Prabhu. Sorry, could you repeat it?
I'm just reflecting that you're saying that we need to make sure that we are free from designations. That's what you're saying, right, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah.
And that designations happen when we don't follow the instructions as is. We try to
Yes.
bring up our own ideologies.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, something to think. Thank you, Prabhu, for sharing.
Yep. Thank you, Prabhu, for summarizing, connecting point.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhu, I mean, just contemplating on the decision, how so if Parikshit Maharaj, if he knew that the Brahmin boy was under the influence of Kali, who cursed him, so why did he? I mean, I know it's his magnanimous attitude, whatever, right? And he being a elevated devotee, but why did he accept that death sentence, right? As a normal human being, you will make a judgment, right? Like, who is giving a curse? Is it somebody that deserves giving a curse or not, right? Just have not able to understand, how he made that decision.
Yes, but that's why actually in the purport, Prabhupada clearly writes it saying that like when Narayana Parayana devotees like means they accept everything as Krishna's mercy. Like Parishit Maharaj understands that when Krishna saved him when he is in the mother's womb, right? So he thought it was Krishna's will that he needs to be saved. But at the same time, that's why he accepted it. Okay, if this curse has to come, means it's coming, it's desire of Krishna, so I'm accepting it. That's what Prabhupada explains in the purport. Even the Chitraketu Maharaj is the same thing, like when Mother Parvati cursed him, so he took it as is and without taking it, lamenting about it. So that's the quality of the devotees, like because they know that this world is temporary, and so all whatever happiness or distress, whatever we are feeling, or because of our bodily designations, or the material body. So they always think about how they can satisfy Krishna. That's their always thought. And everything, whatever comes in their way, they take it as the mercy of that's the desire of Krishna. I hope I could able to answer, Prabhuji.
Oh, yes, Prabhu. I think, making such decisions, right? Maybe we'll have to elevate ourselves to get to that level.
That's correct. Like until we are identifying ourselves with the bodily designations, right? Like means I'm this, I'm that. So we look for our comfortness, and we act according to whatever is feasible for us or whatever is in our favor. If something is not in our favor, we try to reject things, but the devotees do other way around. So means, Thank you, Prabhuji. So Lingaraj Prabhu, it's 8:05.
Thank
you. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Will end, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo